Peace, family. I know everybody's talking about the Ashlee Janea situation. It's unfortunate that she had to succumb to that end, but it speaks to a growing dynamic in the so-called black family. It speaks to this sort of dichotomy that the black man and the black woman are somehow enemies to each other, where the black man and the black woman will rather go other places to feel a sense of worth. And all over the internet, we're seeing that this is a growing epidemic. You know, um, I don't know the. Hold on. Yeah, as I stated, I don't know the particulars as to what's going on. What I do know, she went to Africa for her birthday on a trip with her alleged um, boyfriend, who was so happened to be of European descent. And as we see all of this unfold in social media, we have to ask ourselves, why are we continuing to put ourselves in these particular situations? Now, however, I do understand that you can't help who you may end up falling for, but you can protect yourself. So from my understanding, she went on the internet, social media, denigrating the so-called black man, saying how the black man is an embarrassment. Somehow the black man always seems to find a new way to embarrass them, which is the black woman. So this conversation is to the black man and the black woman. What could we do as a unit to repair the relationship between the black man and the black woman? That's a legitimate question, because as a black man with black daughters, black sons, we want our black children protected. And the first thing we do is to teach them how to protect themselves in the world. They have no protection. As I stated, it's unfortunate that the young sister had to go through what she went through, but it speaks volumes to where we are as a society. Like I said, the so-called black woman, she feels that her only avenue is to go outside of the black man. And when she go outside of the black man, this normally tends to be her reckoning. And the same thing with the so-called black man. The black man go date somewhere, he go be somewhere else, and he ends up meeting his demise the same way. So we have to come to a consensus as black people. We have to protect each other, because we understand we all we have. And I don't like getting on here talking about the differences so much, but at the same time, there's no way we could sit back idly and not understand where we are in this particular climate. In this climate, as a black man and as a black woman, we have to protect each other because we know no one else is going to protect us. No one else is going to stand for us. So, and I understand a lot of black men, said that we don't feel anything for this sister. But at the end of the day, she was young. And she seen life through her own experiences. She didn't know better. She didn't know that what she was doing was putting her in a very dangerous situation, right? But we do understand that a lot of times people get on social media and allow certain things to be their reality, and not necessarily that's their reality. You can be whoever you want to be on social media. You can say what you want. You can portray who you want. You can portray where you want to be on social media. But in reality, we understand that there's a difference between reality and social media. Some people can't differentiate the reality for social media. So we have to understand, man, that we're our own worst enemy in this particular sense. And a lot of things that has been talked about this particular situation, perplexing to me. For whatever it's not registering to me. I can't seem to wrap my hands around a lot of things. So you get into it so bad that the hotel staff had to separate you two. It's so much so not only did the hotel staff have to separate the two of you, somehow you called the hotel staff. So my understanding that they were separated to a point where they were maybe a 10 or 15 minute walk away from each other. But like I said, I'm just speculating because I wasn't there, because I don't know. I'm just going by what is being said, is being reported. But what I do, me and my wife was having a conversation, but what I do find a little bit concerning to me, if this happened, let's just say they were separated at 11 o'clock. Just saying, I don't know if that was the time, but I'm just saying, if they were separated at 11 o'clock and at 11:30 or 12 o'clock, the boyfriend is calling the hotel staff to go check on her, and as they go there, they find that something happened to her. I'm not the smartest, nor am I the sharpest. But not saying this guy did do anything, but I'm just playing the devil's advocate in this sense, right? So who knows if he was on the phone with her and she was speaking certain things in which made him call the staff to check on her. We don't know. Or maybe it is a local that seen that they was having an issue, that seen that they was having a problem, and someone tried to come in and, you know, force themselves on her, and she wasn't going for it, and one thing ended up leading to another. So there are several different scenarios that we can go with in this situation. But I digress. But what I'm saying is this: we should never put ourselves in a position where this could be our end, is what I'm saying. So now we're dealing with a situation where this could be taken any way. This could be any this could be, it could go any way. But if we put ourselves in positions where we allow certain things to happen, then we allow ourselves to be put in particular situations where we accept certain things to happen to us. So we're just talking about the Ashlee Janea situation, where the young lady who was unalived in Tanzania on her 31st birthday. So we just speaking about this. So if you go on social media, online, so it's the trending topic everywhere. So that's pretty much what we're discussing, what we're talking about. But as I stated, if we put ourselves in certain situations, then we have to be willing to accept whatever consequence come behind whatever we put ourselves in. You know, like I say, I'm not saying the young sister deserved it, because she didn't. She didn't deserve to be treated like she was treated, unalived, and then 11 hours later, you contact her parents 11 hours later? Make it make sense. And now, not only did you contact the parents 11 hours later, the mother and the father saying there has been no communication between this ex that supposedly have loved her at some point. Make that make sense. So how is it, if I love you and something bad happened to you, I'm going to continue to be in communication with your family? Why? Because for one, I want to be transparent. I want your parents to know that, hey, I had nothing to do with this. So whatever I have to do to make you guys see that I had nothing to do with this. Or they took his passport in Tanzania, so maybe he's in police custody, and or he don't have access to his phone. I mean, could be a possibility. I mean, it could be. However, but this is the same guy, people saying, after he called the parents to advise them what happened, he was on social media sharing Bitcoin tips. Your fiance was just unalived, but you have the energy or the wherewithal to go online posting Bitcoin tips or videos, etc. So that just means it was just business as usual. But again, it goes back to us as a people doing what we have to do to protect ourselves, because no one else is going to protect us. No one else is going to be in the defense of us. So therefore, we have to defend and protect ourselves. And as a father, as I stated, as a father with daughters, it's our duty as men to teach our daughters how to look for certain things. know how to maneuver in life and pay attention to certain signs, because the signs do be there. They really do be there. And with that said, brothers, we have to be really, really careful in how we move. We have to be real careful in what we're doing. Because we have sisters that's watching. And like I said, this young lady, she just turned 31 years old, so she really didn't have a idea as to what life really was at this point. So she was living her best life according to what I'm hearing via social media. I've never really heard of her, other than this situation. But according to that, she was living her best life. And most of the time, living that way, living fast, you really don't tend to pay attention to what goes on. But my heart goes out to the family, especially the father. Especially the father. Because the father have to come to terms that his daughter thought so less of him, so much so that you get online denigrating the black man, and you have a black father. So my heart goes out to the family, like I said, especially to the father, who trying to wrap his head around, how is it my daughter end up turned into this? Obviously, a woman that hate the man from which she came. So how do you go from a loving father to hating the so-called black man when your father is black? When your father is that very man that you seem to hate? I mean, sometimes some things are not for us to understand. And we're not going to understand certain things. But all I know is there's a wedge between the relationship of the so-called black man and the black woman that we need to fix. If we don't fix it, we're gonna have several other situations like this one. So whatever we need to do as black men and black women to fix the relationship that we don't share with each other, we need to find a way to fix it. And with that, I say peace, love, and light. Like, share, and subscribe. And I pray that each of us find it in our hearts to mend whatever is broken in whatever relationship that we're a part of. With that, I say peace.